Today, what I want to talk about is intercession, intercessory prayer, which is the prayer we make on behalf of others, interceding for others. And in that process, what we're doing when we are making intercession is about our being as much as about our speaking. So we, in that process, are a microcosm of the world for which we are offering prayer. And that microcosm is about every aspect of who we are. It's not simply a matter of reading prayers or reciting a list. It is about the whole of us who is making intercession being part of the prayer. And when we do that, as Ronald Rolheiser says in his little book, Sacred Fire, we sacrifice self-interest for the good of others. It is an act of self-offering when we intercede, whether that's in our prayers on our own at home or whether that's praying on behalf of others in the body of a congregation. We think about it as reading or saying or doing the intercessions, but in fact it's about being the intercessor. It's an incarnational act, it's an incarnational process, and who we are is part of the prayer. So my kindness embodies the kindness of the world as part of the prayer. My selfishness embodies the selfishness of the world as part of the prayer. And God knows us. God knows who we are who prays. And God is not listening to us or attending to us as ones who are capable of reading a list out of a book or on a sheet of paper. God is listening to us, attending to us as who we are, praying on behalf of others. So it's prayer of the heart, first of all, before it's prayer that might seem as of the head. And that prayer of the heart is about two relationships. It's our relationship with God and it's our relationship with the world on whose behalf we are praying. And so we bring to it not just our own particular thoughts, our own particular concerns. We bring to it the concerns that we have perceived, detected, picked up, been asked to pray for by those who represent the wider world for us. And our openness to God means that this is a prayerful process of actually devising, working out what we're going to pray. We discern what we pray for by our openness to the world and to God. So we open our hearts to God, and we open our hearts in order to share the longings and desires of the world, but we open our hearts to God in order to somehow be in the presence of God, who knows our longings and desires and brings them to God's own fulfillment, God's own fruition. So it's being attentive to, sensitive, alert to who God is to whom we are praying. So both of those relationships, to the world and to God, are essential. Let me just say a word about answers. So we do understand, of course, that God responds to prayer in God's own time, in God's own way. And part of that process of being open to God means that we let go of our conception of what the answer might be, whether we're praying for a person who is sick or whether we're praying for the state of the world, whatever it happens to be. We open ourselves up to the God's taking that longing that we have, that desire we have, and turning it into the good that God turns everything into as we open ourselves up to God's power and God's presence. So, first of all, about the answer, it is transformed, it is revealed in ways that aren't necessarily the particular form in which we express it. We know that, but it's just worth reminding ourselves of that. The second thing that about answer is that we are part of the answer. Now, sometimes that gets expressed with saying, well, when we pray the intercession, then say we pray for the food banks in our communities, then our response to go out and replenish the food bank or help work at the food bank, whatever it is part of the answer to the prayer. I understand that, but I think it's the wrong way round. I think we pray for those because we are already part of the answer in some way or other, whether it's directly because we have contributed food to the food bank, or whether it's because we have done things like that enable us to pray for the hungry in another part of the world, for example. It's because we are already, in who we are, part of the answer, part of the response, that enables us to pray more deeply and more, I don't want to say convincingly, but more authentically for those concerns and those needs. If we are doing nothing already and are uttering prayers where we hope for some action, then I think that rather undermines the intention and purpose of that prayer. So, intercession, praying for others on behalf of others, being ourselves, being truly ourselves in making that prayer, in our relationship to the world and our relationship to God, prayerfully preparing, prayerfully offering to God who always listens.